What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus update and daily news report for Tuesday, May 3rd. So today we need to discuss why voters are so mad, because voters are furious. They're furious with the Biden administration, with Democrats, the promises that were made, but yet nothing has actually been delivered. So we're going to address that. We're going to talk about, give you a little bit of a stimulus update, what's going on there. The Biden administration is still pushing to see additional stimulus go through. The problem is it probably won't. So I'll address what's happening there. We'll talk about layoffs and how layoffs are potentially coming for multiple reasons. And lastly, talk about a $1,000 per month guaranteed income pilot program. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. If you have any questions, ask your questions down in the comment section below. Also, if you can spend just 2 seconds, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. But let's get right down to it. Because here's what we know. President Biden and the Democratic Party, they're trying to do almost everything that they can to provide additional stimulus. Now, they understand that what the American people want and what Congress can pass, this is ultimately going to decide who controls the House and the Senate after this upcoming midterm election. Now, the hard part is that multiple Democrats in the Senate do not agree with spending additional money for relief and stimulus. They say we have to go after deficit reduction. We have to get the billionaires and multimillionaires to pay for these bills. Well, that creates a little bit of an issue. But what I can tell you is that with all the promises made by Democrats, voters are furious that politicians can lie the way that they do without any repercussions. So, this year, according to multiple reports, voters are expected to punish those that did not fulfill their promises. So if it was a Republican, chances are they will not be voted in. If it's a Democrat, same thing. The issue, though, that Democrats are facing is they promised the world and underdelivered every single time. But here's the truth. Voters have a say. The only problem is their say is actually heard years later, not before lawmakers actually take their seat. And this is a real issue. And this is why many voters are not even going to vote, because who do they vote for? They don't know. They do not want to vote for a Democrat, but at the same time, if Republicans aren't really giving them something to vote for and run on, why vote for them either? So the expectation is, especially in 2024, we're not going to see President Biden. He is not going to be voted back in. He will not get a second term as president. But many people say, as of right now, former President Donald Trump wouldn't win either. That voters are looking for an outside person to come in and save us. So we'll see. Now, I actually watched an interview just the other day, and the economist in that interview said that roughly $300 billion is needed to help get our economy through the rest of 2022. Now, I thought that was very interesting. But he stated that this would give us enough time to get inflation down. This would hopefully give China time to end their lockdowns and get back to normal, which would somewhat fix our supply chain issues here in the United States. And by the end of the year, many expect our worker shortages would be resolved. Okay. But what I thought was very interesting about this request or a statement that $300 billion would get us back to where we need to be. What I thought was interesting is that it was just a short while after that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, they stated that student debt forgiveness would cost the U.S. government roughly $321 billion. That's the stimulus that the Biden administration is looking at. We've seen stimulus go to parents through the child tax credit payments, right? That was very beneficial to millions and millions of parents. It pulled children out of poverty, which is great. Effectively, they've all been pushed back in because the child tax credit payments are no more. Those ended. But here's the thing you need to keep in mind. The other half of those payments, okay, keep in mind it was $3,000 or $3,600. That's what we were getting. Okay. Now, what you need to keep in mind is those payments, you only got half of that. So you got either $1,500 or $1,800 in 2021. The other half, the other $1,500 or $1,800, that was coming on the 2021 tax return, which means millions and millions of families are still receiving that money or just recently received it. So there's still some stimulus flowing throughout the economy. But the Biden administration is worried that once this all goes away, which the expectation is within the next 2 to 3 months. So we're in the beginning of May. So we got June, July, August. By August, we are going to need some additional relief. This is why the Biden administration is definitely looking into student debt forgiveness. So just keep in mind, even though you may not qualify for any student debt forgiveness, this is what is expected to happen. Now, we know that this is going to have to be done through an executive order. President Biden is going to have to do this. Right now, Congress can't agree on much. So an executive order is really the only way to get additional stimulus passed at this time. And really the only thing that is being looked into, is being considered, is student debt forgiveness. So just understand, it will be coming. Now, based off what experts are saying, if Democrats don't get the targeting just right as far as student debt forgiveness, we could see additional inflation. But the expectation, and again, this is big, the expectation is this would cause inflation, or it wouldn't really cause massive amounts of runaway inflation, but it would cause inflation to remain high for a prolonged period of time before it eventually drops sometime in 2023. But this takes me to the next point, okay? This takes us right into what would happen if we do see rather high inflation, and that is layoffs. Layoffs are going to be a huge factor. Layoffs will be coming very soon, and a lot of small businesses are currently struggling due to worker shortages and increased costs and so on and so forth. But according to Crunchbase, they're actually reporting that at least 42 large companies have already announced layoffs in April. Now, this is double what we normally see. We normally see anywhere between 15 to maybe 20 large companies announce layoffs. But just in April, we saw 42. That's huge. That's more than double. Now, obviously, layoffs are bad, but they're also a bad sign of what's to come. Because being that our supply chain issues aren't fixed, inflation is still extremely high, the Fed is going to be raising rates in hopes of controlling inflation. Now, this is pretty much a recipe for additional layoffs in the future. The only problem is they may not be coming in May, they may not be coming in June, but they would most likely be coming in July, August, September, October, November, and December. That's where we're going to see the most layoffs. Now, especially when over the past couple of years, companies have been all about growth, okay? Here's what you need to keep in mind. They are now focused on profit. And they are focused on profit in order to get them through these tough times. And one of the biggest expenses that any company has is their employees. The best way, not even the best way, scratch that. The fastest way for a company to turn a profit is to lay off some of their employees. So that's what's going to happen. Is companies want to be profitable, so the quickest way to do that is to lay off employees and make the employees that are staying pick up another job, pick up another task, and cover for the people that are being let go. That's what's going to happen. So again, layoffs are coming. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And lastly, I want to talk about the $1,000 per month guaranteed income program. Because yesterday I forgot to mention this. And again, I'm sorry about that. Must have just slipped my mind. But yesterday, the city of Baltimore, Maryland, they opened up their guaranteed income program portal for applications. Now, this actually started yesterday, May 2nd at 6 a.m. Now, the guaranteed income program, This will provide $1,000 per month for 2 full years to help young families. So it's a pretty big program if you get accepted into it. I believe they're going to help out, I think it's like 200 families, and it's just in the city of Baltimore, Maryland. But keep in mind, there's a lot more of these guaranteed income programs popping up. There will be a lot more coming up very soon, and as we get more information on them, I promise I will fill you in on all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next.